Hello. Most consultants walk into a meeting ready to pitch or to sell what they do. The best ones walk in and begin to listen because the real problem is actually rarely the one that's stated out loud in the first meeting. And if you can't diagnose it in the first conversation, you likely cannot solve it in the engagements that follow. Perhaps listening is the most important skill to have. I'm Joe Diehl, Managing Director of Diehl Co. LLC, based here in Seattle, Washington. I'm a CPA, an attorney, and a functional medicine certified health coach. That's really a mouthful. Over 5 decades, I've served as a CFO, an executive director. I've even been an interim CEO or executive director for a variety of companies. So at Diehl Co., our motto is just 3 words only: we solve problems. Today, I want to share 3 principles I rely on when I diagnose a client's real problem. And we try to do it in the first conversation. Point 1, ask what is broken, and then ask why. Clients often lead the conversation with a symptom or symptoms. They'll say the software is broken, or staffing is short, or the budget is off. Those are actually surface issues. My first job is to ask what is broken. I keep asking for enough details until we get past the symptoms and reach the root. I don't mean that I want to engage in a blame game, like who dropped the ball, or we had to fire this person. A staffing problem, sometimes it's a leadership problem. A software problem is typically a process problem. So in the first conversation, we try to separate those two. Point 2, I listen for what they are not saying. Now, it's hard to listen to something when they're not saying it, but between the words, I can usually figure out, after doing this for 50 years, I try to find the most important information that shows up between the words. Hard to do, but typically executives don't want to volunteer information up front, or possibly they don't know what the issue is. So I listen for those pauses, what gets skipped, who is missing from the room. So reading between the lines is something that I try to do. And I try to actually practice empathy as well, to try to understand what they're going through and to, in effect, walk in their shoes. Most problems I've faced in life are fixable. And so those 55 years that I worked in finance, law, association management, coaching, I've learned not every problem is mine to solve. Sometimes the right answer is a referral. Sometimes it's an interim role. I'll step in and run the shop until we make a fix. Sometimes it's helping the client run a proper hiring process, and we have techniques to do that. Diagnosing well means being honest about what the client actually needs, not what is most convenient for the consultant. And sometimes you'll hire a big consulting firm and they send out some junior executives. You work with me directly when you work with Diehl Co. LLC. Every problem to be solved is different. When I became a functional medicine coach, I learned to search for the root cause of their health problem. Pharmaceuticals rarely solves a health issue and usually gives you some side effects you don't want. Same thing in business. Find the root cause, find the root problem, and find the right tool to fix it. Getting the diagnosis right in conversation will make everything so much simpler, faster, and far more effective. In conclusion, if you're facing a problem you can't quite get your arms around, let's talk.